Finally, the time has come where Plarium allows us to show everything that's been talked about the last couple of days, all the new champions from this Alice new campaign that they're doing. And I'm lucky enough to have access to the test server, to have all these champions, and I'm here to show them in detail, to show you literally everything that's coming in this new patch in detail. New champions, new dungeon, new extra things that they might be around. So if you're ready, let's have a look at it. Hi, Senda here, and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. In this one, like I said, we're going to be deep delving into the test server, and we're going to be having a look at most of these champions, talking a bit of where they're working, having a look at the new dungeon, at the new event dungeon, and going through the skills a bit more in detail of the champions that we haven't seen in previous videos. We've seen 3 of them. We covered yesterday, we covered Alice, we covered the Mad Hatter, and we have 3 others that are also, well, one of them we kind of knew, which was the Queen of Hearts. They told us, we knew it was going to be the boss of the new dungeon, and they kind of told us the kit. We're going to see her in action. We're also going to see a little snippet of how to cover and how to deal with that dungeon. It's not that difficult if you manage to beat the previous one, if you manage to beat Odin. This one is not so difficult, but I'm going to shut up a bit and I'm going to show you everything. Let's start with the looks. Is the same, nothing has changed, that unless they remove the Christmas decorations. I don't remember if they were there or not, but they're not there anymore. Christmas is over. I was going to say the first thing, but I'll leave it for a bit later, and it's the new market. I think it's a pretty bad job in 2 things. Like I said, I'm going to go a bit more in detail after that. But let's have a look first at the champion. Don't worry, like I mentioned in the previous videos, you're gonna have an in-depth guide of Alice, an in-depth guide of the Mad Hatter, and probably an in-depth guide of every other champion that is coming. Probably except one of them, because I don't think it's that mind-blowing, but there's 2 that are pretty interesting that I'm definitely gonna cover in the dedicated video. Let's start with Alice. We spoke about her in the previous video yesterday. You know what she does, what can she be good at. You're gonna have a guide, like I said, on her. Here is mainly used to show you the stats. It's not bad. It's a pretty average nuker stats, 16,000 HP, 1400 attack, around 1000 defense, not super fast, and pretty standard nuker, nothing crazy. And I think in this faction, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Let's jump on the Knights Revenant, and this faction is starting to become really interesting because they added a lot of champions and they have a lot of good champions. One of them, I didn't cover it in this video, I covered it for the Spanish community. Sorry, I started this channel a bit late, kind of 6 years late, but we spoke a bit about this guy. This guy is pretty good, pretty cool. I don't think it's gonna be as insane champion account changing as other content creators think, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all. It's a great champion, it's just a bit weird. We have an A1 that has weakened, and if the enemy has attacked us before us, this weaken cannot be resisted. It's not bad, it's a bit niche if you ask me. This A2 is really powerful, and I am yet to see where can this work exactly. I don't think it works against bosses. Well, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work against bosses because it's not the first champion that levels up HP, but basically levels up all our champions' HP to the one with the highest one, and our turn meters from our champions again to the highest one, and it does the complete opposite to the enemies. It takes the one with the lowest HP and brings them down to the level of that one, and also the same with the turns meter. It decreases the turn meter of all enemies to the same level as the one with the lowest turn meter. So it's a very cool skill, really powerful skill. Not sure if we're gonna see new meta in arena or anything like that. I guess time will tell. And on top of that, he applies a ton for 2 turns on this champion. The only problem, if I can be picky, is that cooldown is pretty long. 7 turns here, with books, 5 turns, still a bit of a long cooldown. On the A3, attacks one enemy, before attacking transfers all the debuffs, and then heals this champ. And when it counterattacks, always uses this skill, so basically it's just reflecting. If it counterattacks, it's literally just kind of reflecting and sending back all the debuffs that he might have. But it has a very weird faction unity skill, because if there's 2 faction allies, it does an AoE attack. This attack will ignore 100% of the defense, but it cannot be critical, which means there's no point building him like a nuker. And if there's 3, this skill does 100 more damage. 100 more damage, ignoring all the defense, but it cannot be critical. So I'm not exactly sure what are the multipliers of this skill and how hard it hits is a bit odd, and I guess we'll have to see. And finally, a passive that is the same, is very unique, is a bit weird. I still have to see it in action because it's worded a bit differently than other champions that have a similar thing. It says that every time this champion loses 25% or more from a single hit, places a block damage. The thing is, it doesn't say it blocks the damage, which means if there's one hit that will 100% delete this champion, means that first will take the damage, and if he dies, he dies. It won't apply this block damage as far as I understand, because there's other champions that say if champion receives X amount of damage, it blocks the damage and it applies the block damage buff on the champion. It's not the case with this one, so it's also something to be seen. Maybe it might be really powerful against certain bosses. It's yet to be seen. It's also if there's at least 2 faction allies completely immune to the effects of ignore defense, so it makes it really tanky and really good against nukers. And also, every time he gets hit, 20% chance to activate instant turn, which means like he can use his skills way faster. So like I said, yes, it's very powerful, but I don't know yet, I haven't tested it yet to see exactly how powerful. And of course, like any other of the Unity faction champions, it's not going to be easy to get. That's this Kaleth or Kleth, or I don't know what was the pronunciation for this guy's name. And then the Mad Hatter, we saw it in the video yesterday. So far is an amazing champion. It's actually going to be the next video guide that you're going to have in the channel. It's going to be this guide because I think it's pretty popular opinion, or pretty requested, that this guy is the first, you want to see this guy before Alice, just because you need to be sure if you're gonna go for him or not. In this case, in terms of stats, we saw the kit in the video yesterday, very complete. If you haven't seen the video and you don't know what it does, you have a video from yesterday, and you will have another video probably tomorrow where we go a bit more in depth, how to gear him, where can we use him, good combos and so on. In terms of stats, really good. I mean, really good, really high HP, pretty solid defense, fast champion, doesn't look like a damage dealer, it didn't look like that, at least just by reading the skills, and overall I think it's a very good champion. I think it's a pretty cool fusion, and I'm gonna try to get it, at least try. But we'll see him a bit more in depth in the next video. And then we have 2 new ones. One of them is the Epic. This Epic I'm pretty sure is gonna be part of the fusion. We're gonna need 4 of these, and then we're gonna need these fragments, or I'm gonna find out how the fuck is it called, because I keep calling them fragments, but it's shards. Shards are these, fragments are these. It's just because in Spanish is both of the same language, so it's the same name, it's kind of fragment for both things. So yeah, we need basically to collect fragments in order to fuse all 4 epics, and with these 4 epics we can fuse the Mad Hatter. That's how it's gonna work. If you don't manage to go for the fusion, this one is a pretty solid one. Again, I don't think it's the top epic, I don't think it's insane champion. It's okay, it's pretty good, but you know who else is pretty good and is free and is much easier to get? This girl over here called Yamarsa, okay? You can get her just by doing the referral with 3 accounts, I think, or 3 accounts, and you get her. So pretty fucking easy if you ask me. And the role she does is pretty much the same. Revives all dead allies, heals a target, they're very on the line, they're both very, very similar, and one is much easier to get than the other. But, again, I repeat myself, it's not a bad champ. But before leaving this faction, there is one more yet to see, and is the Queen of Hearts. We knew the skill of this lady over here because Plarium shared a kind of an image where he was saying these are the skills of the boss of the new dungeon. And we knew who the evil character of Alice in Wonderland is, and is the Queen of Hearts. So we kind of knew her kit already. It's a very powerful one, it's a very annoying passive, which for every 10 buffs the enemy team receives, this enemy team in the event is us, for every 10 buffs that we apply, it just grants this champion an extra turn, and what it's gonna do is removes all buffs from the enemies in the dungeon is us, then places this death brand that basically when we die with the death brand, it just applies a block revive, and also on top of that applies a true fear on all enemies for 1 turn. This is very annoying, and also the more buffs that she removes with this skill, the more turn meter she's gonna get. So this is gonna be very annoying, and this combination of the 2 is gonna be very annoying. Also has AoE like not AoE, like a ally attack with all the rest of the allies, and it puts increased attack on them. So again, a very powerful skill. Is it better than Odin? Is it worse than Odin? Again, we have to see it. So far it's not bad, and like I said in the dungeon, it's very annoying. Let's go with another one. This one is completely new, is unrevealed, is the knave, knife, I'm not exactly sure, but basically if you play poker, there's the jack, the queen, and the king. This, at least the translation with the Spanish one, would be the jack. In this case, the jack of hearts. I'm not sure exactly knave or knav, what it is exactly, that is the word. Sorry, I'm not a full English speaker, I'm not native English speaker, but that's basically what this guy is, and what this guy does is the one I said that I'm not sure I'm going to do a guide on him because I don't think it's that special or that interesting, but it's not bad. It seems to be a champion to help a lot of people to beat the Shogun, more or less, because it has a very unique skill that he can recirculate it pretty fast. In terms of stats, it's alright, it's not bad. The HP for an HP champion is not mind-blowing, the defense is not too bad, speed is pretty average in general, and this guy will be like, I don't know, a 6 out of 10, something like that. It's not bad, but it's not mind-blowing. In the A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, each hit can place a provoke, 50% with books is not mind-blowing either, and heals only a 3%, which is really low. On the A2, attacks all enemies, that's alright, has 75% chance of stealing 2 random buffs from each target. It will depend a lot, I don't think we're gonna see many of this guy in arena. Some bosses don't put many buffs on them, so I don't think it will work too much. And in this case, he places continuous heal on all allies except this champion, so it's kind of a heal on the allies, and it places unkillable on himself and a taunt also on himself. This skill, the cool part is that it's every 3 turns. With books, the 75% chance of stealing buffs, it will go to 100%, and 4 turns with books, 3 turns. But basically there's 2 turns that this guy will have taunt on, 1 turn that he wants. So if we put him fast or we decrease the cooldown of skills, we can do some setup for the Shogun in case you don't have Emic. You can probably pair him with another champion and have this guy be completely full taunt. The boss is gonna go all the time to try to kill him, and then we can try to control the counter on the boss so it doesn't go too crazy and manage it somehow to kill it. I'm not sure if we're going to see this setup. I'm not sure if I'm going to pull this champion and I'm going to be able to use it, but I think I can smell something over there. And then finally, a skill that is also a bit niche, a bit strange, and it combines really good with this skill. So basically, what it does, this skill, is he places an unkillable on himself and a taunt. That means that he's going to be receiving a lot of damage and he's going to be receiving all the hits from the enemy. When his HP has gone pretty low after receiving so many hits, what this skill does is it targets one enemy and it swaps the HP. So if I have very little HP and I target an enemy with a lot of HP, I'm going to swap my HP for his HP, so he's going to have very little, and on top of that I'm going to put him a heal reduction, so he's not going to be able to heal. Also, it equalizes the HP, the levels of all allies, which means like we'll all go up full HP probably, and we place an increased defense on all allies. It's not bad, but like I said, this is pretty useless against bosses. I don't see him really being used in arena, and I don't think it's something especially useful in waves. So it's a bit meh of a skill. It's interesting, it's cool, but in terms of practical, I don't see that much practical. And then yeah, this is very Knave of Hearts or Jack of Hearts. Eternal Sentinels is the passive. At the start of this champion's turn, fully restores this champion's destroyed max HP, which means basically this champion is immune to his HP being destroyed because it's a heart with a big shield, and when attacked, destroys the attacker's max HP by 20% of the damage received. It stacks up to 50%. This is cool because we can bring down to 50%. I'm not sure if there's bosses have some passive that blocks to their HP to be destroyed more than 50%, but again, it's quite niche. So that's it. That's basically this guy. And there is one that I think I left for the best. Let me think. Let me go through the Plarium Center. So we have Alice, we have the Mad Hatter, we have the Queen, we have the Knave of Hearts. Yeah, there's one more, which is actually really cool. I really like this one. I think it's I mean, the design is amazing, and I think the kit is also pretty interesting. Here is the Cheshire Cat. Like you see in the movies and in the books, this guy is this shady face that disappears in the shadows, and it appears in one place and it disappears in the other place. And I think they're really done very good with the kit to put that in paper and put that on skills. It's a very similar champion to Candraphone that also uses Veil and hides and then hits, and very similar of another champion that has a very similar mechanic where he hits harder and he does more things if he's under Veil or Perfect Veil. This is Roxanne. Unfortunately, Roxanne is not the most used champion. It's a very good champion, but like I said, he doesn't see too much gameplay, and it's the same thing. He's able to place Perfect Veil and do a lot of different things and more powerful things if this champion is while under Veil or under Perfect Veil buff. So the Cheshire Cat is very similar in that sense. We have an A1 that attacks one enemy. If this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, attacks all enemies instead, and this hit, I tested it and it doesn't hit bad at all, and then places a Perfect Veil on this champion. So basically he hits and then he hides himself all the time. Also, you can see here that the damage based on attack and speed. This is interesting because if you remember in the Alice books, there was this kind of, I'm not sure if it was a competition or there was some kind of rivalry between the Cheshire Cat and the White Rabbit. And the White Rabbit is very on the line with that. It's another champion, attack champion that also scales off attack and speed. And in this case, the rabbit is very fast. It's 110 speed. The rabbit is faster than the cat. I'm not sure, but I think I recall there was something with that in the story as well. The cat is a very standard nuker again, is pretty decent attack, average HP for a nuker, average defense for a nuker, and in terms of speed, it's not slow, but it's not the fastest either. The rabbit, in this case, is faster than him. With his A2, attacks 3 enemies. Each hit will decrease the enemy's speed by 1% and stacks up to 10%. The bosses are immune to that, and this effect does not work against bosses, like I just said. Each hit will also increase the champion's speed by 1%, and it stacks up to 10%. It's not bad, but 10% is not amazing. I think also the rabbit, the Rasselvarg, also had something like that he increases his own speed the more turns it takes and the more he uses certain. And then if this skill kills an enemy, places a Perfect Veil on this champion and the ally with the lowest turn. So again, he hides himself during 2 turns and then he'll be able to hit harder with the rest of his skill. And finally, here's the special skill, not special, but like the hard hitting skill that attacks all enemies before attacking, places a Perfect Veil and an increased attack on himself, and then hits all the enemies, and then if he kills any enemy, he grants him an extra turn. Not bad. As a passive, everything makes sense with the rest of the kit, that if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, turn meter will fill 30% more effectively, so it's good for a fast team, for example, in Arena, and especially if we are able to hide him somehow. And this champion's attacks will ignore 50% of the defense and inflict 50% more damage. Plarium lately, with the latest champions they're releasing, they're starting to add a lot this mechanic, this add more damage. They started with the set, like the protection set from the Hydra, the set, I'm not entirely sure, the one you get from Siege, also 9 pieces, increases the damage dealt. They're working and they're doing a lot of things with this, inflicts more damage here, inflicts more damage there. As an active effect, and this is the one with the cooldown, whenever this champion is about to receive a hit that would drop their HP below 20%, blocks the incoming damage, like we have seen on the Unity faction from the Night Revenant, and places a block damage and a Perfect Veil on this champion. And in this case, it is telling us if this champion is gonna go below 20%, it blocks the incoming damage, it hides the damage, and it hides the champion, and on top of that, he applies a block damage. On the Night Revenant, it doesn't block the damage, which means like it can be one shot. Somehow, the other guy is immune to the ignoring defense, but if we deal so much more damage, there's a lot of champions who deal a lot of damage. For example, Thor, can hit really hard and it doesn't have the mechanic of ignoring target defense, can probably one-shot him. So this blocks the damage, the other one doesn't block the damage. Finally, an aura that increases all ally speed, increases all ally speed, in all battles by 19. Not bad, not mind-blowing. This is so far all the new champions, the 5 from Alice and the 2 extra ones. One of them, like I said, being part of the fusion, which is the Epic. That's point 1. The other thing, and we don't have them in the test server, so unfortunately I cannot show you, is the 2 relics. Here we have the same relics that we had before in the previous test server thing, which is when they introduced all the relics, but they seem to have forgotten to add the new 2 relics. There's one epic relic and one the legendary relic. The epic relic you've probably seen, the legendary relic you haven't seen, and I cannot show you, but basically it's a very good one for DPS, for attack-based champions, attack-based nukers. What it does is that it's as like I'm reading here, the wearer ignores 10% of the target's defense when attacking enemies with higher max HP. So basically, any attack nuker, normally they don't have too high maximum HP, so it's pretty common that the enemy is gonna have more maximum HP than ourselves. In this case, we will be dealing a lot more damage by ignoring defense. I think the maximum defense that we can ignore with that is up to a 10%, so it's not that amazing, but the good thing is that the stats that item gives us in the maximum level is plus 40% critical damage, that is quite a lot, and plus 204 attack and plus 104 defense, that I don't really understand. I would prefer much more speed on that third stat, but that plus 40% critical damage is pretty juicy. So that's in terms of the relics, and there is 2 more things that I want to show you. The first one is complain. But let's complain. I'm very naggy, and I'm a developer myself, and I do a lot of UX design, UI design. And here, the way they laid out this is very bad. Basically, they changed the layout from vertical to horizontal. I don't really know why. And they put here all this stuff. Okay, so far. But then all this empty space here is just ugly. I don't like it. On top of that, the only new change here, well, there's 2 changes. One is that from this market, we can access every other market. It's literally just a kind of a quick link. We can access the clan shop, the token trader, the bazaar, the altar of souls. We can change between the soul merchant, the mystic market. Here's a bit better. I can see that they're filling up this space with different things. Not bad. But there's something that really, really bugs me off. I think it's incredibly stupid. I don't know who in their right mind will use this system and this thing, and it's basically the price on this item. In one hand, it's good that they've improved more or less this market. Now you can see different sets, you can see another 4 or 5 stars, but we can see also 6 stars, for example these gauntlets. Problem is they're trash, that's why they're so cheap. But if we see an item that is more or less okay, more or less good, let's find a 6-star one. Now since I'm recording, probably nothing is gonna appear that is 6 stars and good, that we can just spend the test server silver for testing purpose. But basically there's something that I think they've gone a bit overboard, and it's the price of the things. For example, these boots. These boots, they cost 1.3 million silver. I'm pretty sure rare boots, 6 stars, not even speed on main stat, not even speed on substat. Who in their right mind will spend 1.3 million on this trashy item? This one, the same, flat attack, 500,000 silver, no thank you. But I've seen prices here like completely out of their mind. See, at least the ancient shards they keep appearing, so it's not bad. But I've seen items here like 6-star. The toxic set is not even that amazing. In terms of substats, not even speed or critical rate or critical rate, yeah, critical damage no, but no speed. 3.5 million. I don't really understand who and why would they spend that much amount of silver in an item that is not even that good. And like I said, I've seen items here for 5 million, I don't know if 6 million even. I haven't seen any mythical item, but something is not right. The developers have to have a second thoughts on this, because I don't think this is right. And the last thing that I want to show you is not going to be a dedicated guide, but just so you have a video and you have you are completely aware of everything that's coming with this new patch, is this stage. Okay, this stage has 30, not stage, this is the new dungeon, the event dungeon. I just want to show you how I farm the number 30. It's not the easiest, it's not the most free to play, but there is a lot of different options. Note, it's not necessary. Lilith 2 is kind of necessary. This one is not necessary. I'm just taking to decrease the speed on the enemies. I could completely remove him and put on another champion, maybe you, for example. And basically, if you, I mean, this is not for everyone. Obviously, 6 stars, full double pairs, 6 red stars is not an easy done, but it works exactly the same as it worked with Odin. You need to treat these guys as if they were a wave of enemies with a lot of HP. So basically, here is gonna come in play the boss's passive. The boss's passive, the more buffs we put, the more instant turns she takes. And indeed, she's gonna take one. Here you have it. Here she goes, she puts all the shit on us. And that's about it. Okay, she went. I have my Lilith with the protected buffs. I'm interested in, of course, having in Seer being as many buffs as possible because I need them to nuke the enemies. But I'm gonna take, well, I'm not gonna take anything because she just cut me, okay? And if they don't kill me, and this is a bit unfortunate because I didn't want them to become polymorphed, I want now Seer that unfortunately dies, so I cannot really show you properly. Let's go at it again. But basically the idea is to put shitloads of buffs, and then now has Fear and Taunt, so it's not gonna work either because I need her to be alive, and this is why it's not working because I don't have items. Let's put Warlord, and it's gonna be, since it's not a guide of this dungeon, I just wanna show you how the mechanic is gonna be. But basically you need to nuke these guys. That's the end line. You need to nuke these guys. Now another fear. Let's see if I lose the turn because of this fear. If I nuke these guys, that's it. The boss is easy. It's exactly the same as Odin. Once the minions are all dead, Odin is easy peasy. You come here, you nuke them. There's one that's still about to die, and I need to kill her because she might revive someone, and I don't want her to revive anyone. And I probably shouldn't have hit her there because now she's not gonna revive. I can probably block the skills. But basically this is the idea. You nuke the wave, you nuke the enemies, and then the boss is not so complicated. I'm not going to do the whole run, but basically you get the gist of the idea. You get the point. In normal circumstances, she would have been gone same as everyone else. Now I have to revive her, blah blah blah. It's going to be a bit longer, but the idea is that you treat the enemies like if it was a very strong wave, you nuke the wave, you deal with the boss, easy peasy. And I think that's pretty much all new that's coming. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you expected to be better, that you expected to be worse. Like I said, the market I think is a complete rubbish. I mean, it's a really shitty implementation, but the champions are pretty good and they're also pretty good looking, so I'm not gonna complain too much. That's all for this video. I hope you find it interesting. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of videos. There'll be a lot more coming. Here there'll be a video recommended from the ones I made yesterday, and any questions or anything you might want to know, you can leave it down there in the comment. That's all from my side, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.